Hey, what's up guys? Matt the Butcher here. I am in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. I am visiting my folks. In this video, I'm going to be answering the top 5 most asked questions on how to dry cure meats in a wine fridge. This is basically like a third part video out of the 2 that I've made already. The first video I made on it, if you guys want to check it out, is how to set up a absolutely simple dry curing cabinet out of a wine fridge. And then the second video that I did was how to actually maintain temperature and humidity through the whole entire process of like a full chamber with salami and things like that. I released those, one was like 2 years ago, one was a year ago, and I've gotten maybe over 100 questions and comments on these videos, so I just took the top 5 most asked questions, and that's what I'm going to be answering today. So guys, make sure you like and subscribe, and after this video, if you guys have any more questions or comments, please don't hesitate and just put it in the comment section below. All right, let's get to it. So the number one question that I get on these videos that I was telling you about, and this is not necessarily the most important question, but definitely get asked this a lot, is what kind of fridge do I have? So the brand is Hair, and they have tons of different refrigeration devices that they sell, but this one is the wine cooler model HVD036E. So I looked online, and it does not look like that they sell this model anymore, but they sell very similar models. I got this one off of Craigslist about 5 years ago for about $150, and the model itself is another 5 years older. So this is like a 10-year-old model that I have, and it still works really, really well. It's got 3 buttons on it, and only 1 button doesn't work. So it has the white wine button, and that's going to hold between 40 and 50 degrees, and then it has the red wine button, and that's going to hold between 50 and 60 degrees, and then it has the light button, and that is the only one that doesn't actually work. I have to twist the light bulb in and twist the light bulb out to turn the light actually on, and that, to me, it's a steal. If that's the only thing wrong with the model, that's perfectly fine with me. I've looked online, and it looks like they sell brand new ones, upgraded models with the same 3 buttons, and they sell for about $400 to $500. I don't quite recommend that you guys go ahead and buy a brand new wine fridge if you're gonna just buy it for curing meats. You can go on Craigslist, and they have all types of stuff all the time, and if you buy something for $100, $150, it's not gonna break the bank. And if it doesn't work out for you, if you just wanted to give this hobby a try and you find out it's not really your thing, you can just sell it right back on Craigslist, and probably for the same exact money, so you don't lose a ton of money. All right, question number 2. The subscriber says, "Hi Matt, I was wondering if I should be selective about the wine fridge I buy. I want wires to be able to go through the door and still work. Would most wine fridges work, or do you think I should get a specific one? Thanks." Okay, so that's a great question. Most refrigerators are going to have a seal in between the door and the frame, and the door and the frame is actually going to have a magnet that's going to help keep that refrigerator door closed and closed close to the frame, right? So that's the seal. It's going to keep that seal. So if you run a wire through the seal, it really is not going to pop the whole door open unless that magnet is getting weaker over the years, or something is happening where the door won't stay closed. But I have ran a fan wire through the seal, a dehumidifier wire through the seal, and a humidifier wire. So that's 3 different wires I've ran through my specific wine fridge seal, and it has held, or I should say it has been able to keep the door nice and closed through the whole process. That's like a 30 or 40 day process, and I really have not had any issues with that. So you're going to find that with most refrigerators is it's going to have that magnet to keep it nice and closed. And so I hope that helps there. All right, question number 3. Subscriber says, I noticed others that are using various types of fridges for their meat curing have installed fans on the walls of the fridge to bring in new air from the outside, whereas you are circulating air in there. Do these wine fridges bring in new air? Okay, so that's a great question. Once again, there's a million ways to make these kinds of chambers, and you know, some people will bring air from the outside, you know, to, I guess, put in fresh air, or you know, that's what they're thinking. I actually circulate the air within the inside. I open up the chamber and I always check, like every other day. You know, I check on the salamis, I rotate the salamis, and really that's all I personally need for new air circulation. I don't make a point of bringing in brand new air. You know, I mean, I guess that does bring in brand new air when I open up the chamber, but towards the end of the curing cycle or the drying cycle, the last like 10 days, I rarely open up the chamber. And I think the biggest thing is that I'll have the air or a fan circulating the air in there, and as I'm slowly bringing down the humidity, any moisture or precipitation that's coming out of the salami and coming to the edge there is going to get evaporated. And that's really the biggest issue, because if you have stagnant air, it's going to create yeast and molds on the outside of the salami there. So as long as you have air circulation, you're slowly bringing down the humidity, you're going to be fine. You don't really need to bring in new air constantly. I've worked in many salumeria factories, or I should say like a USDA approved facility where we make cured meats, and a lot of these walk-ins don't have you know, a new air circulation or a new air vent, I should say. They just have the air that's in there circulating, and they have a dehumidifier and a humidifier. And as long as the air is you know, got an equal like 360 degree rotation around the salami, and it's being hung properly, you're going to be just fine. Okay, question number 4. Subscriber asks, hi Matt, great video. You said you just add a Tupperware box with water. How often do you top this off in your environment? Also, how much salt do you put in there? I am looking to buy all new stuff now. I have some chorizos hanging in my basement, but humidity is a little low, so the casing is becoming papery. First batch, so didn't expect them to turn out perfect, but I cooked them for safety. They were delicious, and I'm still alive. Okay, so that's amazing that you tried it, and I have hung salami pretty much anywhere you can think of. I've hung it in my closet next to my shirts. I've hung it in a basement. I have hung it in walk-in coolers. I've hung it in wine coolers, all the above. And it's really figuring out your environment. And I stress this a lot. If you want to be doing this as a hobbyist for years to come, you're going to have to learn how to bring humidity up in your own environment and down, and then maintain temperature. And sometimes that's the hardest part, especially if you don't have a refrigerator and you're just hanging it in a basement. Your temperature is going to fluctuate, and it may not be cooler than you need, and it may not be as warm as you need, vice versa. So it's all getting to know your environment. So he says here, it sounds like he's just hanging the chorizo in an open air basement. And if that's the case, a small Tupperware container is not going to give it the humidity that you need. You'll really need to block off an area, whether it's a small closet, or if you can saran wrap an area, put a little bit of vent holes in it, and that's where you want to hang your salami behind there, and you can put a humidifier up underneath, you know, that section that you've blocked off. It's all about creating a small environment for 30 or 40 days until your salami is done. That is if you don't have a refrigerator. But he is referring to the video that I have for my wine fridge, and I put a Tupperware container with water at the base. So it really depends on in my situation, how much salami I put in that wine fridge at a time. If I pack it out with about 15 pounds of salami, then I'm gonna put, you know, maybe just one container at the bottom. And it's, you know, just a regular deli sized or sandwich sized container. And I'll put water in there, and it does not matter how much salt you put in there. You just want to put enough in there so that if any drippings of the salami fall in that water, nothing will grow. So you want the salinity to be about 3 to 4% or higher. So if you have 2 cups of water in your container, in your Tupperware container, you can put in like half a cup of salt. It really doesn't matter how much salt. You just want to be able to put enough so that nothing grows, no yeast or mold grows on top. For him, if you're hanging your salami in an open air environment, I would recommend having a squirt bottle, a mister with distilled water that you can spray the outside. And it says here that his casing became papery and probably came unattached from the meat itself. That's not good. That's not good. That's not going to give it a nice dry, you know, finish that you're going to want on a salami. So through that, you want to spray it so that you actually have a permeable surface that water from the inside can come out. So you actually need to keep the outside hydrated. But back to the Tupperware containers, if I just have maybe 3 pounds of salami hanging in my wine fridge, you know, I will pack the bottom with 3 or 4 different Tupperware containers. And I have my little humidity gauge that I've shown you guys in the past videos that tells me what the humidity is. And from there, I'll take Tupperware containers out, or I'll put them back in and just try to maintain a high humidity at first. And that I've stressed this in other videos. You want the high humidity first and slowly bring that down, and that's going to give your salami the best drying environment. And that's what you'd want to do in an open air environment too, is make sure it's nice and humid. So a humidifier would probably work best in this person's environment, or Tupperware containers would work better in like a small refrigerator like mine. Okay, question number 5. The subscriber says, "Hi Matt, great video. Question, what do you do with the pH tester chub that you use to ferment next to the salami? Do you ever try to eat it? Thank you." All right, that's a great question as well. So if you've seen in my other videos, when I make salami, anything that is left over in the stuffer tube, I take that and I wrap it in plastic and I ferment it right next to the salami. And this is the little piece of meat that I'm going to poke with the pH meter to test the pH. And so you don't have to poke the actual salami in the actual casing, because I wrap it up in plastic wrap instead. And it's going to ferment just as fine as the stuff that's in the regular casing as well. So they're asking, do I take that chub and do I dry it? Well, I have before, and a couple reasons why I don't anymore. One is, by the time the salami is done fermenting, I typically will test the pH twice. And what you have to do is poke a hole with the pH meter, the probe itself, and put it into the salami. So therefore you're actually possibly reintroducing bad bacteria into the salami chub. And that is why you do it separately, because you don't want to do that to the salamis that you're going to eat. So if you poke a couple holes in there, that might not be a wholesome product anymore. And you really never know until you give it to, if you test it, bring it to like a science lab and they can test that for you for salmonella or listeria or something like that. Anyway, another reason why I don't is because it's not cased. So you'll have to take it out of the plastic wrap and let it dry open air without a casing. And believe it or not, salami, or I should say ground meat, that doesn't have a casing actually dries out very quickly, and you get case hardening on the outside also very quickly. So that casing on a salami is very protective to the meat on the inside and allows it to dry out very slowly and properly, and it creates a barrier for any bad bacteria to be able to enter it. People have told me that they go ahead and cook it, you know, and they'll put it in with their eggs, and that's fine if you're doing a heat treatment of that tester chub. You know, you'll probably be okay, but it is way more salty than a regular sausage, so that's not really my thing. But I just would not recommend it. All right, guys, well, I just answered the top 5 questions that I get for dry curing meats in a wine fridge. If you guys haven't checked out my 2 videos before on dry curing meats in a wine fridge, please go check those out. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, put them in the comment section below. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining me.